Well, because I've spent so much of my life so far living next to or close to water, and also spent a lot of time on the water, I include water in a lot of my paintings. So, I know I said on this one I'm not going to put any buildings in it, no structures, no nothing. But I've always enjoyed the idea of looking across a body of water at a distant shore. So let's lay in that distant shore. Sorry, too late, I already did it. And let's also bring in something in the foreground here. Probably be a stone or two in there yet. Right now it's just ideas, right? It's just, how do I want my shapes to appear? Maybe something like that. So that's the far shore. And that might end up being hills in the background, and it might just end up being trees. Uh, right now it looks like hills, but if I just change a few things in my drawing, or rather during the painting process, we can turn that into a shore that's not that far away. And also, I just have this notion in my head that I'd like to put a small young evergreen in here. I don't know, something like that. What do you think? Something along those lines. Just to break up that mass of water. And for the sake of balance, but not too much balance, there's a tree trunk. And I'll just wipe the charcoal out right there so that it looks more like a tree trunk. I don't know, is that functional? Is that going to work? I think it might be okay. Maybe up to about there, and then something along those lines. Again, I'm just throwing in some shapes. Some I'll remove, some I'll leave. Okay, that's quite a dip. That's maybe a little too much. Maybe we break that. Maybe there's a cluster of young trees trying to gain a foothold on the edge of this lake. That helps to fill that in a little bit, and design-wise helps to support the intensity, which will really be mostly here. Sorry. Let's just call that a rock, and on the other side of that rock there's a crevice, or on top there's a crevice, and there's an old tree growing out of that crevice. I think that's going to work. I think that could work just fine. Let's not get too hung up on putting too much design down here, because it's not important enough. This is not going to catch light, really. The light's going to be from behind. And Okay, how about if there's a thinner younger one? Or maybe it's just a stick from an older one. It didn't do so well. Beside that one. Rather than having one single trunk, it's a bit of a block, eh? So this helps to break it up. Now, being a knife painting, I need to be careful. I'm already getting into dangerous territory because I don't want too many details. But we'll leave that there, at least for the time being, and maybe permanently. We'll see. Just going to leave myself a hint right now. I may go very high value water right up to the shoreline, or I may keep the high value only up to about here, and then mimic some of the family of hues and values of this hill in the first sort of little space here. So I'm going to put a line in. Whether it becomes applicable, or rather, I should say, how it becomes applicable later, we don't have to worry about that. We will leave that concern until later. Remember, don't worry about things till you have to. That's just an exercise in pointlessness. Okay, so we have that. Let's make one more, but we don't have to double that. I think we'll do more than double just that. It's entirely possible that I end up changing colors or values once we come in quite close. So we're just doing space division right now in concert with putting in shapes. All right, that's a lot of straight line right there. That's not bumpy enough. See, it's very simple, but it's kind of coming together. Now, I don't care if this is a rocky shore or what it is. I really don't care. I'm not going to explain it thoroughly anyway. I think what I'm going to do mostly is just draw in a few lines, give myself a few hints as to where colors or chroma will go higher and lower, and also value, where the values will become higher or lower. And maybe we'll just give a thought to a trunk or two, because this obviously is closer than that is. And we're leaving a lot of room for sky here as well. And maybe I'll have a chunk of trunk showing right there too. And there. Okay, again, because it's a knife painting, I don't know, let me just stand back for a minute here. I don't know that it needs a whole lot else.
Of course not.
So, all right, after a little backing up for a moment, I wanted to make this more intrusive. I don't mind the tops of these little, let's call them hemlocks. My father-in-law told us, myself and my brother-in-law, about this years ago, or he mentioned it or drew it to our attention, that hemlock, and I looked it up afterwards and I totally forgot. For some reason I thought it was Douglas fir that did this, but my brother-in-law correctly remembered that this is what he had said. Hemlock trees, when they're young like this, they will always, okay, now I'm not exaggerating it very, very accurately here, but they will always bend over to one side or another, just the tips. And as the tree grows, the tip strengthens and becomes straighter, and the trunk grows up, and then what is now the top is bent one way or the other. But it's nice, it gives them character. So let's call these little Hemlockians from the planet Hematoma. Okay, that's probably not very good either. You know what? I think I'm leaving it at that for the moment. I might have. I was originally not planning on washing in over my stain, but I think I probably will. Just to tidy it up. I have to be a little bit careful. I don't want to get caught up in that trap of making things so tidy that the painting ends up being too tidy. But I think it could stand a little more cleaning up. So that's probably what we'll do next. Hope you had a good weekend, guys, and we will talk to you very soon.